What? Trump. Trumpety Trump, 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 Trump has done it again. Oops, he's done it again. He's came out and told pregnant women to stop taking paracetamol. Do you know what? See, when you're in the jungle, you can't get any paracetamol. Do you know why? You know why? Because the parrots hurt them all. Anyway. But it's hilarious to see how what a massive influence pharma companies have over news outlets, and how funny it is listening to news outlets talking about this sort of a news. Now, let's have a look. So there's a so-called expert who, no doubt, in my mind, my sceptical mind, because he's an expert in big pharma, takes a lot of money for big pharma. Now, Tylenol is the company that's massive in the States that sells paracetamol. It's the same thing. This is the company which owns, what the fuck's it called? Tylenol, paracetamol. This is the company that owns it over in the States. Here it's last month's stock price. Let's go and look at 3 monthly. Right, so it was sitting up at that mark. July up a bit, August remaining kind of steady. Then it comes into September time, the 8th, just the end of August, 25th of August. And it seems to be start going down. Then at the beginning of September, it starts, boom, it's almost as if something inside trading or something. It's almost as if like sort of people know the writing's on the wall. What Trump is going to say on the 23rd or the 22nd, would you call it? I think it was last night he said it in America, wasn't it? It's almost as if people knew back then what was happening. Boom, price went down as people started selling off the stock. Boom, 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 started going down, 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 down. Then the 19th, even more fucking heads up, boom, took a drastic shoot down, and then small, no, it's not a recovery, it's still as low as it's been in ages, but people buying when it's low, hoping it will go back up, or they will recover. Now let's have a wee listen to this guy. Now, the shtick that's coming from the mainstream media is Trump is making unproven claims. All the scientists disagree. If you're like, paracetamol is the best pain relief to use when you're pregnant. All the experts agree. I've even heard some talking heads, and this is what scares me. It says, and they're coming out and saying, if you do not take paracetamol to deal with a fever or pain while you're pregnant, that could harm your kid. And I'm like, right, let me decipher that. That's you basically saying if you don't take paracetamol, if you're feeling under the weather when you're pregnant, you're going to harm your baby. Fuck knows how we ended up with so many fucking human beings on this planet before they invented fucking paracetamol and pain relief and pills. And that company, how much is it worth? As of today, after it's went down a significant amount, 32 billion. 32.5, over 32.5 billion that company's still worth, and it's dropped. Let me see, in the last 5 days. I can't read it. Yeah, but let me see. It was up there. Percentage. It's dropped about nearly 10% in less than a month. Anywho, but let's have a wee listen to the BBC expert covering all bases. So he's already told you that Trump's full of shite. All the experts say take paracetamol. It's all good. If you don't take it, you'll harm your baby.
The evidence we've got is inconclusive. So they were talking yesterday in baby passed into the low birth rate of babies. So the question is not so much, is paracetamol causing autism? Could it be another one of those factors that maybe could slightly increase your risk in pregnancy? And even there, the evidence we've got is inconclusive. So
the evidence we have got is inconclusive. That is a get out of jail free card if I've ever heard one. Well, Your Honour, yes, well, in hindsight, we knew that paracetamol was helping to accelerate rates of autism, but the evidence was inconclusive.
They were talking yesterday in the news conference, President Trump and his colleagues, about a study that was published in the summer. This was Harvard University and Mount Sinai Medical School, and they did
Harvard and Mount Sinai Medical School and done a study. And what did this study? When there's no evidence and Donald Trump's just talking out his arse, keep taking paracetamol like sweeties when you're pregnant.
Review of all the main evidence that's out there. They looked at 50 different studies. They felt they found a small correlation between both. Now that's not a cause. It means that the rates of autism was slightly higher, they felt, looking at the studies, in women who'd taken paracetamol. But there could be other reasons for that.
But there could be other reasons. Yes, there could be other reasons. It's just ignore. There's a correlation done by some of the biggest, in a study, by some of the biggest eggheads in the world looking at other studies. Just forget that. Because there could be other things. It could be them going on the swings too much. Could be a correlation there. We need to do a study. We need to get these... I don't know, and I'm no fan of Donald Trump and stuff, man, but I just find it hilarious. But bear in mind, right, see if you knew what Donald Trump was going to say and you were in the stock market, you could go and, what is it they call it, short stock? When you bet on stock, I don't know how you do it, but I've heard that people can do that, you know, if you're in the know and you've done a wee bit insider training. If anybody knew what Donald Trump was going to turn up and say, they would have shorted that stock and made a fortune. That's one way of looking at it. Maybe the Donald Trump is using it as a money-making thing, or that would have been the gravy. Anyway, let's listen to this guy instead of my push.
There's no certainty that it was paracetamol that was causing that slight increase. And at the same time, to make it even more complicated, there have been plenty of other studies that have suggested the opposite. So a really big study out of Sweden, published last year, looked at 2.5 million children in Sweden over, I think it was 6 years. And they found, when they looked at brothers and sisters in particular, absolutely no link to paracetamol use. So certainly inconclusive evidence out there.
Well, finding no link in a study isn't the same as finding out the complete opposite. The complete opposite would have been like, no, taking paracetamol actually makes you less likely to have autism. Not that, there's a correlation. But just ignore that. It could have been anything. They could have been the rain clouds. It's just a correlation. Just keep taking paracetamol, keep the stock price of these companies, these big pharma companies up. And Trump is trying to save the world. Well, telling all his buddies what he's going to do probably, and they're shorting the stock, making a fortune. Got it good. But it's hilarious. Go and listen to the mainstream media talk about this, because they've got it's like listening to the small print in adverts, you know, the jibber jabber at the end of adverts on the radio. They'll tell you like, fucking do this and you'll fucking be the best person in the world ever. And then at the end they'll go all the disclaimers and stuff. That's what they're doing on the news right now, because they're coming out and telling you how crazy Trump is. There is no evidence for this, and then talk about the study for Harvard and Mount Sinai. Is that no in Israel, man? So that's some top boffins, some real powerful eggheads, and they have studied other studies, but was it over 50 studies or something? Pretty sure that guy mentioned it anyway, and came up with where there's a correlation between the rise in autism and taking paracetamol. But just ignore that. Could be anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the most intelligent people on the planet around in the medical sphere of was it Harvard, innit? Harvard and Mount Sinai and fucking, I'm assuming that's a university in Israel. I'm sure that they just mentioned the correlation just because it meant nothing. Donald Trump's heard that and went, here, maybe some people should actually say that, struggle through a headache when you're pregnant rather than starting popping paracetamol like fucking Tic Tacs. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing, a woman's body goes through fucking hell when they're pregnant, you know what I mean? Everything, what a goodness, it's going to the baby, and the woman gets what's left over, do you know what I mean? So they're going to feel run down, they're going to have sore heads, they're going to feel and be crabbit and feel like shit and all that. And if you've got doctors out there telling you, paracetamol, A-OK, and not telling you that in studies by some of the finest educational institutions on the planet, they found a correlation. Not causation, correlation. But just ignore that, because it could be anything, apart from the study that says that there is a correlation between people taking paracetamol and the rise in autism. They're covering their own backs. Anyway, rant fucking over, man. So, and again, this is me just being objective. It's not falling into the cult of Trump and fucking... I was going to try and take a piss out of his voice there, man. No, because I've already got a sore throat for doing the carrot too much. Anyway, Trump's bad, okay? You get it? Got it good. Cat cheese, no cats, no cheese. Maybe only some pregnant bitches with sore heads were harmed in this filming. Don't take the paracetamol, because the parrots ate them all.